what helps my mental health. I struggled for 10 years with depression. So I feel like I've just existed for 10 years because I wasn't living in the moment, where now I live in the moment because I choose to from the second I wake up. And people are always saying to me, your life looks so amazing. I'm like, it's not amazing, but I control my life now. I don't let like the outer world control me.
Hello, I'm Dr. Sherry Jacobson, and this is Therapy Lab, a podcast dedicated to therapy, mental health, and the art of well-being. In this episode, we are joined by Jonny Toomey, the co-founder of JK Attire, to talk about his story. I know quite a bit about you. Our viewers and listeners do not. So you are a co-founder of JK Attire clothing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how would you describe the kinds of clothes that JK do?
To be fair, with the roller coaster that we've had, it's been quite like, it was pretty all over at first. We was trying to be like a retailer, which we found out that it just doesn't work for us, but we've moved into like more streetwear and we've stick to like a vision, a more niche market. So it's just more like oversized, good quality at a good price point. And
your target audience? Who buys JK clothing?
Cool kids.
Cool kids.
Yeah, just people that are not afraid to wear something that's a bit out there. So something that's a bit in your face, but people like our consumers like not scared to wear it.
How did you get into it, and what was the idea behind starting a clothing company?
It was never like, it was something I never thought about, but at the time when I come up with like I wanted to do it, I had a 24-hour gym, and it was a gym that I had a bit of savings, I invested into it. It was like just running like a normal back unit gym, and everyone was telling me, just don't put your money into that, you know, it's just a normal gym, you're not going to ever get anything from it. So as soon as someone tells me you don't do something, I'm going to think, right, I want a challenge. So at the time, I analysed around the area for like with a 10-mile radius, and I thought, what can I do different that no other gym is doing around there? And straight away I realised nobody in the Foul Coast was doing 24-hour gym. So straight away I thought, if I go into that, I know in my head that is going to change the game straight away, because it's something different. It's something that it's not happened around there, so everyone wants something new. So straight away I thought, I'm going to go into it. It had 75 members. Within 12 to 18 months, I took it to about 850, 900 members. Then we won Gym of the Year for 2 years in a row. And it got to that point where I thought, I knocked through a wall. Every bit of penny that we made from the gym, I lived on like £50 a week. I just give myself a budget for the first 12 months. I knew that I was struggling, I'm not going to lie, I was struggling. At the time I had, like my credit report was rubbish, but I thought, if I can learn to live on £50 a week now and sacrifice, I know in the end it'll pay off. So for the first 12 months I did that. And then it got to a point where I thought, I can't grow it anymore. We've knocked through a few walls. I just invested everything back through. We can't grow the business anymore. And I thought, what else can I do that's 24 hours a day that can make money when you sleep? So I used to go, I go to Thailand a lot, and I went to a training camp on my own just to find out, like, if I go on my own and just train, what else do I want to do and figure out? And I was looking at Instagram at the time, and I wasn't really clued up on the social media, and I just seen like 20-year-olds driving Lamborghinis, and I thought, what are they doing? And I looked at what they was doing, and I thought, if they can do that, I know I can do it from all my experience of like from business over the years of losing stuff and just all the knowledge that I've learned from business. So I started scouring Instagram, and I was looking around, and I started seeing some young kids, and I thought, these are just starting up with clothing brands. And I rung a few while I was in Thailand. So everyone thought I was partying. I wasn't. I was sat there on my own, doing my training, eating healthy, and trying to figure out what's the next journey. And I come across a few Instagrams. I rung them up, and I just thought, I wouldn't get on with that person. We haven't got the same vision. And then there was a lad called Dovey, who I seen, and he'd started a brand called Gym Clothing. And I just seen something in the JK. I don't know what it was. It was the logo, the JK. And I thought, I want to know who's doing that, because what I can see there, there's not a big budget in it, but he's got a vision. And I thought, I want to know who this is. So I messaged the page, We started going back and forward on messages for about 3 weeks, and he's like sending me ideas, and I'm like, I can bring this to the table. I've been networking for years. I know these such a people which you would have to pay a lot of money to use, but I know them, so we can get them. And he was a bit like, grounded at first, like stood back a bit. He was like thinking, who's this guy trying to come in and like get involved? And I just said, just ring me and we'll have a chat. So we were speaking for a few weeks while I was away. I said, look at me, I've done this with the gym. I said, we're in the papers, just Google on there what we've done with the gym and stuff. So he's like, he got a bit of confidence in me then. And he lived in Peterborough at the time. So I said, why don't you get the train up to Blackpool and we'll have a good chat, you know, we'll have something to eat. And if we're on the same vision, let's make something of it. Because I said, you need some cash. I've got friends and stuff that I've got a bit of savings. I've got friends that could help. I've got a lot of friends that can help post. I know people in the industry. And to be fair, for someone who's just turned 20,
very young.
He actually jumped on the train. He got all the way up to Blackpool, and I thought, he's hungry. And that's what I said straight away. I just thought, this lad's hungry. Nobody would get on the train to come and meet someone. Do you know what I mean? He sent an opportunity and he took it. So we went for something to eat in Lytham, and like we had a steak and stuff. And he sat there and he just went, I'm being honest with you now. I've never been to anywhere like this in my life. Yeah. And as soon as he said that, I just thought, he's hungry, he'll work for it. And I just went, get used to it, because this is how we will end up living. Yeah. And he thought I was crazy at first. And at the time, I had 2 cars. And I went, are you driving? He went, I've got my licence, but I don't have a car because it's expensive. And do you know what I mean? He said, I'm working at, I think it was like in a warehouse somewhere. And he went, but really, I'm working in the warehouse, but I'm on my phone hiding all the time, trying to get sales for this. Because he had a tracksuit, T-shirt, a hoodie and stuff like that. It was only a few pieces, but I believed in what he was doing and I seen a vision. Yeah. So I said, well, I've got a car. So it's a BMW, it's nice. I said, for a 20-year-old, you know, it's really nice, it's good for you. And he's like, mate, I've just met you. I said, no, don't worry about it. As long as you get insurance on it, you can take it, because I'm not using it. So he's literally come up for a meeting. We've had a good chat about everything. And he's got in the car, he's gone back, and he's like, mate, you must be crazy. And he didn't understand why I did that. Straight away, that to me, I can build some trust up. And he asked me, he's like, why would you do that? That's crazy. I went, well, if you'd have gone away with the car and never brought it back, I'd have got paid on insurance. If you bring the car back, you've just built up trust with me straight away. So I was testing him, little did he know that, but he's buzzing. He said, I'm 20, driving around in a nice new BMW. So I'd done that, and then about 7 days later, I said, what stock have you got? And he's like, I've got 2 boxes at home. So he's living with his mum, his little brother, in a little house in Peterborough. And he reminded me of me and my mum and my little brother. Like, he just honest. Like, we don't have loads of money. We just live in a normal house in Peterborough, and I just want a better life. And I just thought, that's me 10 years ago. I can see him, and I know he's hungry. I know he's trustworthy now. I said, why don't you move up to Lytham with me? He went, what? I can't do that. And I just thought, in my head, I'm thinking, if he moves, we're onto something here. I know we are. Because no 20-year-old lad that just turned 20 would move, 200 or 300 miles away to someone he's just met over an opportunity. And he went, you know what, I'll pack my stuff, I'm going to come. And I said, if you come up here, I promise you now, me and you are going to be very successful. I said, I don't know what journey we're going to go on, it's going to be crazy, but me and you will make it, because you are just exactly like me. I said, the only thing you've got above me is like, you're very in the Instagram and stuff. Now, I've been a bit like, I'm a bit late. I said, but I can bring a lot of other opportunities, and me and you will work good together. Yeah. So honestly, I couldn't believe it. So he jumped in the car. Yeah. He'd had the 2 boxes of stock that he had. And on the way up at, what was it? I think it was like 4 a.m, he's driving from Peterborough, and the tyre blew. Oh, no. So he's like, rung me up, he's like, I'm scared. Like, what do I do? Like, tyre blew. So I said, don't worry about it. I'll still get you here. So I rung a friend up who's got a truck. I went, this is the postcode, this is where he is. He's brought down, bring him. So he's literally, the first day he come to move him with me, he's on the back of the truck with a BMW, with someone he doesn't know, and tipped up. And honestly, I'm not going to lie, I was shocked, because I'm not many people like me that just sees an opportunity and just goes for it.
Sure.
So he literally tipped up, and I said, obviously I've got the gym, it pays me a salary, it isn't going to make me rich, I do enjoy what I do. And he's like, well, I'm leaving my job, like, what are we going to do? Like, I said, well, I've got $5,000 put away. I can put that in there. I said, when I've worked it out, my salary will pay for the 2 cars, the apartment, and it'll give us 50 quid each a week to live on. So that's basically food. So you've got to understand that we're going to sacrifice a lot of our life now just to eat food and work. And he went, I'm happy with that. So I was like, I even shocked even more. I thought, he's just so game. He's seen an opportunity and he really wants this. So about 3 or 4 months passed on, we started getting stock in, just little bits, and then I spoke to one of my friends. I went, I need to borrow 40 grand. And he sat there and he's like, you're asking someone for 40 grand? That's crazy. I went, these people trust me because of all the stuff I've been through over the years. I've borrowed money, I've paid it back. I said, this isn't just come from an overnight thing where I'm asking for 40 grand. These people know me for years that I work hard and I always pay my way. I'll always stay true to myself and not have anybody over. And he's like, that's crazy. So I borrowed the 40,000. We invested into more stock. Dovey was dealing with obviously the production in China because I didn't really know that side of it at the time. Obviously I got the money and he knew the production side. Speaking to China, I thought I wouldn't have a clue at the time. And we got our first load come. I said, what are we going to do? We can't have this in my house. Like we've got to get something. So we looked around, we found a storage unit and it was £100 a month at the time. So we put the stock in there, we literally put a few shelves up and we just like, I said, right, this is our base now, we'll grow it. I said, we want something like this in the end. I said, this is the end goal, this is the start, in a little lockup. So the stock arrived and then I said, how are we going to sell it? Because we haven't got much budget really to sell it. So what we was doing, we started, he come up with the idea of why don't we just message people for 20% off and build relationships up with people. So for like 10 hours a day on the computer, we had one computer between us, was on the computer. He was on it most of the time. I'd probably like go out and do my bits, try and network, get a few more contacts. And we just start, he'd be like, mate, we've done 5 sales today, just from messages. I was like, well, that's free marketing. So we could probably do 20 a day if we keep it going. And then we'd message a few like people that had some followers and stuff, and we'd message like 100 a day, one would get back to us. But that one was the free marketing that'd say, yeah, I'll do it for a picture. And we just kept building it up. And we got to a stage where it was like, well, we're doing 40 sales a day and we've got a £100 storage unit. I was like, right, I think like we can grow it even more. And then obviously the nightmare come. Everything's going so well. And we got a 17-page email from another brand in the UK saying that your logo is very similar to us, we're going to close you down, trademark issues, blah, blah, blah. So we've been put, like, for about 6 or 7 months, we've been working day in, day out, constantly, living on peanuts. And he stood up and he was like, this is it, it's the end. I can't believe it. It's all finished. And he's like, obviously his heart was in it and he was getting a bit down about it, upset. He's like, I'm gonna have to go home and stuff like that. I said, no. I said, there's 2 ways we can look at this. We can let it beat us up and think this is the end, or we can go, there's a multi-million-pound company trying to attack 2 lads working from home, because that to me is a threat. So I see this as an opportunity that we're doing something right here. Might not be the best, it might not be perfect, but we've got the attention of a multi-million-pound company that turns over 20 million a year with 2 lads sat at home in an apartment distributing some stuff from a £100 storage unit. So in the past, when I was his age and I had a business, I'd think the world had ended as well. But because now I just look at it a different way. What am I going to learn from that email? Why have they emailed us? Not, oh, this is the end. And I looked at him and he went for a walk on the beach near my house and he was like, mate, this is it, I'm gutted, I'm down. But he didn't understand at the time, he didn't understand the process of like, just looking at it a different way. Do you know what I mean? So that was the positive side that I had to bring to the table, that, okay, I'll think of it as a different way, this is an opportunity. And then he come back in and I went, mate, and I explained about this is a multi-million-pound company, look at it this way, we're making noise in the industry and we're not really doing much, we're just at home. I said, it looks on the Instagram that we're not. It looks like we're absolutely flying, we've got loads of money, we're growing, but really we didn't, we had literally nothing. There was days where I'd literally say to him, like, mate, we're on beans on toast. And he's like, and you know what, I couldn't believe it. The one thing I couldn't believe is that for someone that age to quit semi-professional football, to come and move up with a guy that he's only met for like a month, and to sit there and live on £50, eating some days like struggling. Do you know what I mean? And it was just like, that was quite powerful for me. And I thought, no matter what happens now, it's a part of the process, because I know me and him are an unreal team. There's nothing that's going to stop us. At the time, he thought that was the end. And there's been a few times, but he's taught me a lot with like all the Instagram, the social media, but I've taught him a lot about the mental health process of a business, which is very important, because that's why there's people like Dovey who has great ideas. He can learn like that. I've never known anybody in my whole life that's very like, he's just awake to anything. If something new comes out, he'll sit there all night, watch YouTube video for 5 hours, and he'll master it.
So a new tool or something, a feature on one of the social media platforms, for example.
Yeah.
God, Jonny, what a firstly, you're a fantastic storyteller. I'm completely wrapped up with the beginning of JK. And you mentioned mental health, which is probably a great time for us to launch into it.
Massively.
What is your take on the significance of mental health in your industry and your experiences of it personally? What
we've gone through with JK?
Yes.
Well, obviously, nothing ever goes well in business. It's never just up, up, up. So there was obviously when that happened, we had to rebrand. We got advised to like go with an agency, and they'll distribute clothes, and they'd come in and they'd be like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And to be fair, we lost a bit of control at the time, but you're obviously gonna think at the time. You think, oh well, these guys have made loads of money in the past. They're doing it for these people. They're doing it for that. We've got to listen. So we went down the road of trying to go into wholesale. We got we've got an agency on board. They come in, they said these are the designs that we'd like, and we was a bit worried at the time, me and Dovey, because we was like, but what if with trust issues, just from past experience with trusting people and stuff, I was like, me and Dovey would sit there at night, we'd talk about like, yeah, the money sounds great, like the numbers that they can do, but we was like, what if they can't get rid of that stock and it gets put on us? And we knew that we wouldn't be able to sell that online, because there's so many other brands that was doing that stuff. So we was like, that's quite scary, and at better prices, and spending millions on marketing. How would we get rid of that and overpower these billion-pound companies and million? Do you know what I mean? So obviously we went with it. We don't regret it, because we learnt a lot from it. So we went with it. We got told that we was going to have all these numbers, like over the year we'll sell this stock. So the trust was like, okay, but you've got to buy the stock. So this is where it started to get like hard. So we had to invest the money in the stock before they'd sold it, and it was like over £300,000.
Wow.
And the only thing that kept us going, like, was literally, he had a sofa bed there, the sofa bed here, and we had a TV like this, and we was just watching YouTubes. And the one thing that kept me going is, I said, no matter what we're going through now, Dovey, I said, I'm not going to lie to you now, I'm trying to be strong. I said, I know that you're struggling, you're walking around Manchester, like, can't breathe and stuff because of the pressure, you're worried. I said, but I can see so clearly where we're going to be with this. And that is one thing that kept us going. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, mate, we are going to be the best streetwear, #1 in the UK, without a doubt, in the next 2 years. And he's looking at me like saying, you crazy, we might be closing tomorrow. And I'm like, because I can see it so clear, I was so confident. As much as I was depressed, I was down, I was stressed, I didn't see my family. We ended up moving to Manchester just to be close to the office, because we had that commitment, we couldn't get out of it. We moved to Manchester for 6 months, and it was quite lonely, you know, we didn't see anybody, we took on all the pressure, and we just kept fighting, and every day, we sold the products, and I said, we're still one step further, we'll get there, and we're looking at like what cash we've got, how much we're spending on marketing, then we'd research other brands that have been through the same problems, and we just keep taking the knowledge off everybody. And that's basically one thing that kept us going. And then it comes, I think it was like about 3-4 months ago, we'd literally just got out of the mess. And we finally, like, literally got rid of that stock. We did sell it at a loss, which is not a nice thing to say, but the knowledge that me and him picked up over the past 12 months through that, we went through mental health and that, but that is the process. If you want it to be, you want to be successful, you've got to go through them ups and downs. And we just kept fighting, we stuck together. There was a week where I'd be like struggling, and I mean, I'm like, Dovey, I'm struggling today, I can't concentrate. And he's like, he'd pick up my work. Do you know what I mean? And then he'd have a week where he's bad, and we're just sat in the office and we're just there, we're existing because of the pressure. And then I'd pick up it, I'd be like, don't worry, just go for a walk, I'll do it. And I'm not gonna lie, if I didn't have him there and he didn't have me, we probably would have not made it to this point. And we just kept going. We got rid of all the stock at a loss, but we still had cash flow to go, right, let's take everything back now because we went so wide with the ranges. Let's bring it all back for SS20. And the past 4 months, we've beat, since summer we beat target every single month now for the past 4 or 5 months.
Congratulations. After all that struggle. You say that your vision helped you through. What other things helped you personally, and if you want to talk on Davi's behalf, I mean, anything that you feel you needed to do for you? You shared the workload, you covered for each other, your relationship obviously helped tremendously.
To me, it's all about loyalty and not breaking the promise. I promised my family that by the time I'm 35, there's no more struggles anymore. I made a promise to him. Oh, that was another thing. I made a promise to him. If you stand by me, I'll stand by you 100%, and you will be successful 100%. Yeah. And he basically moved his mum and his little brother up. So that to me he probably don't know that. That's pressure to me because he moved his family away. He's moved his girlfriend away to come and live next to me so we can do this. So I had the promises of my family and the promise to him and his family that we will stick together and do it. So that is one. In the down days, I used to sit there and I'd be upset, I'd be down, I'd be emotional. Like I didn't want them to see it in the office, but I'm like, I can't give up for these. I've made promises.
So the faith kind of keeps you going.
And the faith and the clear vision. I always knew since I was 16 years old. I said to my mum, I remember in the kitchen, I'd left school 3 weeks. I was in the 6 weeks holidays just after leaving school, and I said to my mum, I went, I'm moving out. She went, you're not. And I was like, Mum, I'm moving out. And she's like, you can't, you're 16. I had a girlfriend at the time. I said, yeah, I'm moving in with my girlfriend. I've got my bag and I'm going. She's like, you can't just do that. And I'm like, if I move out at 25, like any normal other person, I said, you ain't gonna live the life that I want you to live because you might be 70 then or whatever, 65. I said, if I move out at 16, I'll be a multimillionaire by the time I'm 35. I said, so then you'll be like, what, you're 56, 57, you can have a good 15, 20 years of your life living without the worries that you've had to all your life. And she was like upset and stuff, and I literally left. I was 16 years old, I've never been back once.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of Therapy Lab. If you'd like to transform your life with therapy, get 10% off your first session with any therapist on harleytherapy.com. Just use the code TherapyLab when you book your session. What was it like for you growing up?
Yeah, I enjoyed it, to be fair.
I'm just trying to get at what made you so driven? What makes you so motivated?
What I can remember from when I was younger is when I was at school, I would see like my friends, and they'd come in with like new stuff, new trainers, and they'd have like, oh, my dad's got me this and my mum's got me this, and I'd be like, I didn't ever feel like sad that, oh, my mum couldn't afford that. And like, obviously my dad, he's never been a part of our lives. So I used to hear that, oh, my dad's got me this, and that stuck in my head, and I thought, my dad's not even got me a birthday card. So, at the time I thought, I don't want to say that, oh, my mum can't afford to get me this. Do you know what I mean? But my mum taught me a lot of other things, which I'm so glad I didn't grow up with money, because it would have I probably wouldn't be as content as I am now and as driven. I actually love that I was just brought up with minimal things and not everything given to me. And that's one thing that used to drive me, is when I used to hear like my friends at school, my dad got me this and my mum's got me that, and they'd go here and they'd go there, and my mum couldn't do that for me. But what my mum was doing is looking after 5 children, working 3 jobs. And I just thought, I like that. I like that, we don't have everything that we would like, but I can see my mum's, like, she's trying. She's doing her best for all the children. And I used to sit there and I used to think, when I get older, I don't want that life. of really struggling and the pressure. I want to give that life. I want to give a good life to my family. So I used to sit there and think, what am I going to do? And I think I got to secondary school and I was like, how can I make money? Because I'll be honest with you, my mum couldn't even afford to give us the full money to get the bus there and back to school. So I'd have to get the bus to school and sometimes walk 4 miles back home. But I didn't ever let any of my friends know that because I thought, I don't need to. That's my personal life. So at 14, I remember I started selling sweets, Lucasades, and something, I shouldn't have done these cigarettes, but I knew there was money in it. Yeah. So I shouldn't have been selling cigarettes at school, but I just thought, I want to make my own money. So then on a Friday when everyone would meet up and they'd spend the weekend together, I'd be like, my mum got me this new bike, but really I've been saving up my money myself. And then I turned 15, I got a milk round, and this is when my mum started getting upset with me. So I got a milk round, 4 in the morning till 7, and then at 7 o'clock I'd do my paper rounds. I had 2 paper rounds, and I hated anyone knowing that I did a paper round. Because them big orange bags used to, I feel like they were just like, look at him, he's doing a paper round. But at the time I thought, I want the same as my friends have got. My mum can't afford it, but I know if I can get it myself at the end of the week. So I'd do a paper round from 7 till, I think it was about 8. And then I'd go home, do all my ironing. I was late for school every day for 6 years, well 5 years, in my secondary school, and I got a certificate for that. So I'd get to about 9 o'clock, I'd done all my ironing, I'd had my shower, because I couldn't go to school without shower and ironing every single piece for school. And then I'd like literally, if I walk to school or walk halfway and get the bus, I'd get in at 10 o'clock every day. So I'd miss the first lesson and like, what was it? You'd have a lesson, but you'd have like, is it reception? Not reception.
Like a registration
period?
Yeah,
for 15 minutes. So I'd miss that every day for 5 years. And so I used to get to school and then he'd make me money with me sweets, me fags and pop. So at the end of the week, I could literally buy all the things that my mates was getting. So from young, and then I used to think, I love selling stuff. I love buying something for, say, like 50p and getting £1 for it. So I think from like very young, I always loved that feeling of buying something for a certain price and selling it for more. Yeah. Do you know? Yeah. And I learned that
very industrious and hardworking from a very young age.
I enjoyed it, to be fair. Yeah. But I used to get this is when my mum got upset because when I turned 16, I was doing all that, and then as soon as I come home, I get home at about 5, and then I'd do. My mum always made me clean the living room, no matter what, before I even go anywhere. So I'd clean the living room, and then she'd take me to the bakery for 6. So I'd work packing like sausage rolls and pies from 6 till 10, and then she'd pick me back up. She only picked me up, obviously, to get all the free cakes and pies and that I'd get. So I'd do that, but I started getting nosebleeds and like hemorrhaging from the nose. And she kept taking me to the doctors, and he's like, you're very tired. Yeah. And so my mum's like, you need to quit them. I said, no, I'm not quitting. I want to. I know if I do this now, all of us are gonna have a better life in my 30s. I know it. I can see it clear. I know it wasn't at the time. When I look back now, I think if I had a hemorrhage out my nose now, I'd start panicking. But when you're young, you don't think like that. Yeah. I just had a clear vision of what I wanted, and I'll do anything to get there.
That's incredible. The drive and work ethic, pretty tremendous. Any instances of mental health difficulties when you were growing up, or were they more work related? Subsequent,
no.
More later work.
I'll be honest. So when I turned 16, and I moved out, I got involved. Like obviously, teenagers, you're going out, you start going to the pub, you're drinking on the streets. And I started taking a few substances, just partying. It's just my choice, no one else's. Not that it was just my choice at the time. And I did it for about a year, and I lost. I feel like I lost myself a bit, where I started choosing partying more than the work. And it was about a solid year. I was just partying, going out with my friends, going into I was allowed in clubs because it was a lot different then. If you knew people, you get in and partying. And there was one day where this was my first job that I ever did work for somebody, and it was actually quite weird because it was actually a clothing company. Right. It was from 16 to 17. It was for like the returns of Miss Selfridge and Top Man, and I used to just do all the returns for them and then just send them back out. And there was a day where I went out all weekend partying, and I went to work on a Monday, and I'll never ever forget this. It was the worst day of my life. because my body was so run down, I was just like in work, I was just moving some cages, and I just felt the whole world just coming on me. I was like, oh my God, and I felt like the whole blood rushed out my body. And I was like, I don't feel well, I need to get out. And my panic mode, I've never felt this in my life. Panic mode kicked in. So I literally run out of work and I run to my mum's. I went, I don't feel right, I don't feel right. She's like, what's wrong with you, what's wrong? I said, I'm not gonna lie, I've been partying all weekend and I've not really slept much and I don't feel well. And I literally just collapsed on the floor and like all my muscles just went stiff. At the time, I didn't know what it was, but after that, I obviously did a lot of research, and I just looked at all my family. I was like, "I love you all. I'm dying." I actually thought I was gonna die, and they was like, "What you on about? What you on about?" And all my muscles just stiffened up, so it was like a spasm panic attack where you hyperventilate and you take all the oxygen out your blood, and you just go solid. So I'm on the floor just crying, and like I don't know what is going on. I'm young, I'm dying like in front of my family. And then the ambulance come and he was like, just calm down, you're actually, did all the checks and they said, you're just having a panic attack, which you've no oxygen in your blood and that's why you feel tense and you're stiff. And that was like the biggest wake up call in my life about drugs. I was, honestly, I was so scared. So then from like 17 to 18, I just replayed that day in my head. And I couldn't go to work. I was just too scared. I'd go to work and that would remind me of that same event. Yeah. So I was going to work like the next few days and I was like, every time I was at work and I went near a cage, I thought it's going to happen again. So I was replaying the same event which released the same emotion, which at the time I didn't understand that. I've obviously done a lot of research on why I was feeling like that. So I was like, I can't work. And I thought, oh my God, the first time, like from 17 years old, I've always wanted to work and stuff, and I physically and mentally can't do it. I'm so scared to step out of my house. And I literally stayed in my bedroom for 9 months. And it took me 9 months to just, like, even I'd come downstairs, I'd be like, it's going to happen again. So, and I'm thinking, all my mates, I'm looking at my friends and they're all out and partying. I'm like, why am I different? Why can't I just go out and do that? Why are they all having fun? Yeah. So it mentally brought me down even more. And at the time I had a girlfriend and obviously she supported me all the way through it. I don't know how. She literally stayed in with me as well and went to work, come home and supported me. And it got to a point where I think it was after about 9 months, I was walking to the gate. I couldn't go anywhere. I was scared for my life all the time. I got to the gate and I'd be like, I'm going to the pub now, I'm not doing this anymore. I get to the gate and I'd run back in, another few weeks in the house, too scared. And it was just one day and I thought, everyone's saying, go to the doctors, take tablets. And in my head, I've always thought, I don't want to take tablets because then it'll become an addiction that I feel like I need to take that tablet to live a normal life. So I just kept fighting it. I ended up going to the doctors, managing to get there, and he said, take these tablets for your anxiety. And I thought, I'm gonna have to do something. I took them home and I looked at them and I was like, I've got 2 choices here. Be dependent on them or fight for myself. Because I've watched my mum suffer from anxiety for most of my life and she's so and that's one thing that stuck in my head. She's like, I can't go anywhere, I need my tablets. And I thought, I don't want to have that mindset of being in need and like fear if I don't have some tablets near me. So I took the choice saying, no, I'm going to fight this myself. And I started doing a bit of research. And I thought, right, I was just looking at little things online and stuff. What can I do? Some stuff was making me even more anxious, so I'd just try and not look at that. What's the best thing to do without tablets? And I read a doctor, like what a doctor said, and this actually changed it all. And he says, the best way to get over that is change. So I thought, what does he mean by that? And I started researching more and I was like asking myself, what would he mean by change? So I thought, change my environment, change my routine, change my actions, change how I'm programmed. So I started analysing my behaviour for the past 9 months of like, why do I feel like this? Oh, well, it's because I start my day off by going, imagine that happens again today. So it's the 5-second rule where not counting like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because if you go on, I used to think, do the 5-second rule where 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do I want a good day or do I want to live in fear? So I just keep doing the 5-second rule, and my morning started to get better just by changing the thought from as soon as I wake up. Instead of thinking fear, just thinking I can do it. I can get up and I can go. I can be normal again. So I just started to do that and replaying it every morning. I started to get better, and then I looked around me and I thought, I'm still in that environment, which I made the choice to start partying and stuff. So I thought, right, I need to make a change. So I moved, and that was I don't know what, that was like the best medicine I ever had. So I moved out of the house that I was in.
Yeah.
We got our own house further up the road, and I was like, that's crazy that we've just moved literally up the road. And I feel a bit of pressure like off me.
Yeah.
It's because of what I went through that day. I was still around that same emotion for the 9 months, because it was still around me. Yeah. I went to the same house where I was feeling. So it was
so you were steeped in it, and this was one of the things that helped you to like change. And throughout that, did you or have you subsequently thought about therapy?
To be honest with you, this is probably I feel like I'm having a bit of a therapy lesson with you. I was a bit anxious at first, but I feel a bit more relaxed because I don't really speak about what I went through. I just know what I went through, and when people ask me for advice, I just tell them what worked for me and stuff. I never really get deep into what happened to me, but to be fair, sitting here, I do feel quite relaxed now. So my thoughts at first was thinking it's weak, but over the years and now sitting with you, I feel like it's quite powerful, because it's took my mood and my anxious thoughts right down, because I feel like I'm releasing the pressure out of me speaking about it.
Yeah. And I noticed that you are open about psychological difficulties on social media. Do you want to tell us about how you balance that between the very cool, snazzy image that you have there versus what I consider the very authentic side of difficult emotions and experiences?
What's like a balance between?
How do you balance? How do you know when you feel comfortable enough to talk about the things that you're struggling with?
Before I didn't want to speak about it, and especially on social media, because everyone wants to make out like life's just so amazing on there. But I just feel like it helps me as well by expressing myself, because I know if I express myself on social media, a lot of people might be like, oh, shut up, whatever, we're not bothered about that. But there's always one person that could message me and say, you don't understand how you expressing how you feel when I think your life's amazing today, what you've just done for my day. So I don't think of like other people, what they're thinking about me if I do my meditation, or if I'm expressing how I feel, or if I feel down about something and how I got through it. I always think of that one person that would help, where years ago I didn't have that help or someone, because no one really understood it then. So we all keep quiet and stuff. Yeah. So I just always think of, some people might think, oh, you act like some boy and that, but now you're talking about emotion and stuff. But I don't think about them people. I think about the people that it's going to probably help. That one person who thinks, oh, his life's amazing, but really, is it? Because he feels the same as me. So I'd just rather change that one person's day than the 500 people that are probably think, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
And for me, it's always a surprise when the very glossy, shiny image is mixed in with other things that you're going through. But I find it very genuine, and you're one of the very few, what I would say, sort of glossy accounts that I do follow, because you have the authentic of feelings.
It's just
combined.
Being real. You've got to be real and stay true to yourself. I don't want to pursue that my life's just amazing every day, because like right in this moment, I feel like if you said to me now, are you happy in life? And this is like, a lot of people always ask me this question, you look so happy, you found happiness. And I'm like, I used to look for happiness, but now I understand that happy, like being happy and sad, they're exactly the same thing. It's just an emotion that you go through. So if you said to me now, like, Jonny, are you happy in life? I'd be like, in this moment right now, I feel relaxed, I'm happy, I'm in good company. But in a real world, I could leave here and go outside and get a message, and my mood can just drop, and I could feel sad for 3 days. So I always say to people now, stop searching for happiness, just choose to be in the moment and choose to have happy things, like happy people around you or good people around you, stuff that makes you happy, like when you was a child. So I don't believe in happiness as a destination or anything. I believe that happiness is you choose to be happy. You can wake up in the morning and go, oh, my problems and stuff, or you can wake up and go, I'm not bothered about my problems, I'm having a good day today. You can choose to be happy. It's just an emotion that you can choose to have. like sadness. It's to me, it's just the same thing. And I've realised that now it's not a destination.
Also, before we end, can you tell us about any other self-care practices that you find useful for yourself and that you try and stick to?
Yeah, like, well, straight away I start my day off in the morning. And like, some people like probably look at me and they think, oh, he's weird, a spiritual person and wearing shirts and dreadlocks. And I'm like, no, it's not about that. It's not about that. I wake up in the morning and I choose to do my meditation. For the fact is that straight away I'm reprogramming myself to get up and not think of a negative thought about work, about my life, about myself, insecurities, anything. I get up and I just know my routine is to meditate, and that's to just sit there in silence, not have any negative thoughts, just bring myself grounded before I start my day. And then obviously I'll do my meditation, I'll stand up. Some people it might sound weird too, but this is what helps my mental health. I struggled for 10 years with depression. So I feel like I've just existed for 10 years because I wasn't living in the moment, where now I live in the moment because I choose to from the second I wake up. And people are always saying to me, your life looks so amazing. I'm like, it's not amazing, but I control my life now. I don't let like the outer world control me. So yeah, it might look like I'm always happy. I'm not always happy, but I have a balance where I choose to be happy from the moment I get up. So I'll do my meditation, I'll stand on the floor, just little things like this just changes your mood. I'll say thank you for another day. Just showing gratitude from the second I wake up. Gratitude that I'm breathing, gratitude that I can have some water, I'm eating, I've got a job, I've got a purpose to go to. So straight away, instead, like years ago when I went through depression, I analysed what I used to go through and I'd be like, why did I feel like that for all them years? And it's because I chose to live in the past and the future every single day I woke up, and I was just existing and not living.
Jonny, we're going to have to end. I thank you so much for sharing with such honesty, with such enlightenment, given that you haven't gone through professional therapy and picked up so much along the way and through your lived experience. Really, really grateful for you. I'm sure people will find this helpful. I have really enjoyed hearing about your journey. I wish JK and you and Dovey all the best for the future. I'm sure it will go strength to strength.
100%.
And I hope it continues as it is. Thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to Therapy Lab. Do hit subscribe to keep up to date with new episodes. To find private, affordable therapy from around the world, visit harleytherapy.com today to transform your life. We'll see you next time.